This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
It's Nordo in for PA. Vocal maintenance continues in advance. It is a week from yesterday that 9 to noon will be on site on scene for Vikings training camp. The text line, I appreciate this. Brant, need to vet these kids out. I don't know if you heard the previous segment, Ben Leber at Nacho Leber.
I did not.
I got ambushed. So we do tours once in a while, whether it's high school kids, again, college kids. We used to have internships back in the internship days. It was sweet. Then that all changed. But we do tours, and you get kids and aspiring future broadcasters to come in and see what it looks like, and they probably leave a little bit let down. Because why wouldn't they? But all the same, aspiring potential future broadcasters, I got ambushed. They're both Packers fans.
I know. I saw them in the hallway.
Man.
It's unbelievable.
So Grace hits me with the links thing. So I'm like, okay, this might be I might have an ally in the mix. And then Henry just rolls in talking about Jordan Love being at the helm and Michael Golden, the best player in the draft. Yeah, good freaking luck, buddy. I wish you all the greatness in life. But I hope your team loses every freaking game.
100%.
Now I'm fired up by fifth graders. I did get this text. Are you smarter than a fourth grader comes to mind? The answer is no. But how are you, Ben?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really good, especially as you and I were talking off air.
Because of the sunshine.
What a difference it makes when you wake up and there's sun shining versus we've got the Open Championship on TV right now. And at least it looks a little bit nicer right now. But when I was on earlier with the Power Trip, miserable.
Yeah.
Miserable. Every time I watch this tournament, I'm like, that is the last place I'd ever want to live. Because every day of this tournament, it's windy, it's got a little bit of spitty rain, and it looks cold.
Yeah. And we were talking about that. I wonder how much of that is mental, and is there any physiological difference? You know, we've heard about like getting some vitamin D in your life, right? Getting some sun in your life. You need some natural light. Go out, touch grass, the whole thing. But it is even the difference of the last 2 days, waking up, staring out, got this massive window out the backside of our house where our bedroom is, and I'm just seeing the marsh, and I'm seeing the wind, and I'm seeing the rain, and I just don't want to participate in the day. But then this morning, I roll out, sun shining. It's like, I almost got to close the drapes. This is too much good. But the morning pee session felt great. The whole thing. I mean, everything is amped up when we look out the window and the sun is shining. And those that live on the banks of I think this is in Northern Ireland, which is its own country, by the way.
It is.
I did not. I've known that for a while, but it was like 5 years ago that I found that out. That's embarrassing.
Why did you not think it was its own country?
When you say Northern Ireland, I mean, it's not like they're consummate like Olympics participators or anything like that.
West Virginia is its own state.
Okay, here's the deal. I'm admitting a moment is stupid. That's what I'm admitting. And there are very few moments in which I'm going to admit my own stupidity.
So let me be stupid. Did you think the battle between the Catholics and the Protestants in Ireland and Northern Ireland was just like? There was just like...
It was a civil battle. It was a civil battle.
Was there just like a river that separated the two countries or the two entities?
It was a brain dead moment. I don't know what I thought. I don't know what... They have their own flag and everything.
And isn't Rory from Northern Ireland?
He is from Northern Ireland.
Yeah, he's not just Irish. He's Northern Irish.
He's Northern Irish. Northern Irish. I think Brendan Clark, who won the Open years ago, like 2011, he's Northern Irish. You got the Scot, Paul Lowry. Sean Lowry, not from Northern Ireland. He's just Irish.
So he's just Irish. Yeah, there you go.
So, again, a moment of stupidity, if I'm allowed hopefully I can redeem myself.
You're allowed every once in a while. You are right 99% of the time.
The tournament itself, though, this is, for me, I love being able to wake up and golf's on. And it's because I kind of got to be ushered into it. I don't know about you, but I can't sit down for 6 hours and watch this thing.
No.
But in this type of venue right here, where I'm kind of working, we can, put working in quotes here. But the ability to just have it on, and I absolutely love having this tournament on at this time of day.
Yeah, I don't mind this at all. I've kind of been known in the Power Trip group to I backed out of this whole golf bet. I just don't care about it. It's not interesting to me. Yeah. Now, I'm sort of clawing my way back into the Masters because just the Masters is the Masters. It's his own beast. But most of the time, the golf tournaments are on during the day where I'm doing other things.
Right.
If there's a tee time at 1 o'clock and my guy is at 1 o'clock, I'm not sitting down for the next 4 hours to watch it.
Well, and you're usually prepping for a show or something like that, right?
Well, right. Well, even on the weekends, though, if it's a Saturday, Sunday, do you think I want to spend my Saturday and Sunday, these precious moments that we have, especially if it is a nice day here in Minnesota, to sit in front of a TV and watch golf? No. Thanks.
No. You know, you mentioned the power trip bet thing. So I haven't done it, and this is, again, dumb. Not forgetting that Northern Ireland was its own country. I'm sure I knew that at one point, and then forgot. And then reemerged with a newish piece of information a handful of years ago. I stopped doing the golf bet. Now, this is before. Now it's big money. You know, now, and again, because given my lack of information or my lack of attention given to the sport, the throwing in 100, potentially being at risk of 200 if somebody's that's just too rich for my blood, because I'm not passionate enough about it, and I'm not invested enough to feel like I'm coming to the table armed with information. But a few people, in fact, back in the day, didn't pay up. Woo! Now this is back when it was like 10 or 20 bucks a person for a golf. Well, we're not going to use names here, but you certainly can guess. And I think you'd be right. And I eliminated myself. I'm never doing this again because I was so frustrated. And again, ultimately we're talking about like $40 here. But I was so mad about it that I refused to participate in any golf bets moving forward. And there are moments where I'm kind of jealous because it's kind of like I want to kind of be in the mix. Like I got a couple hundo burning a hole in my pocket. I want to throw myself into the mix here. I don't want to be 17th, by the way. You got 40 people that are drafting this thing.
Hey, it's Mark Rosen.
You're stuck with Tom Faldo by the time or Nick Faldo. He doesn't even play anymore. You're
Tom Faldo.
Rocco's in the Champions tourney. I mean, Tom Faldo. See, that's what I'm on it. This is a bad segment. But my point.
Who's Tom Faldo?
But I kind of want to get back into the mix. If I can be guaranteed not to have to draft last, I think I might be down to participate again, because I do like betting. I do like having a chance to make money. And if you do take the swing and you win it, I just don't follow this closely enough.
I don't either. And part of it for me too is, now this is going to sound like just a complete blanket statement, and I know that there's going to be exceptions to every rule, but it's a 4-day bet.
Yeah.
I'm not paying attention for a 4-day bet. Now, you could say the same thing about a 7-game series in basketball and hockey and stuff, but I think because those are legit individual moments to sit down and watch at night, game 2 is like that's important too. Like a game 2 is different than a Friday round of golf.
Yeah.
So I don't even like the 4-day build out, and Again, part of it is if my guy was in it consistently and I was better at betting with the golf thing, then it would make my Saturdays and Sundays much more interesting, because I'm like, okay, well, I'm kind of hanging on every hole here. I'm hanging on every shot. But I'd much rather just have you and we have $100 bet for one game tonight.
Perfect.
Then I just know there's finality to it.
Yeah.
I can watch it. I'll pay attention. I can cheer it on, and then it's over. This 4-day bet is too much.
Well, the problem is there's no game tonight, so we cannot bet. To the text line, I get it, Nordo. Northern Minnesota is in its own state. I'm sorry.
Well, we could probably have, there's
between that and Tom Faldo, this is this is almost as bad as Gillis's monologue last night.
So that's very polarizing, because I've heard people loved it and people hate it.
I adored it. I thought it was awesome. Oh, but the crowd. I mean, he was just sitting up there languishing. Like I like Shane Gillis a lot.
So when you say he bombed because I think the crowd didn't get his jokes.
I think the crowd was super constipated. I just think, and frankly, I mean, you could almost feel it right out of the gates last night. And I was seeing clips, and then I finally at like 10:30 I saw something in my feed where it was the full monologue. Somebody just ripped it and posted it. So I watched the whole thing in its totality. But like he initially, he starts out with an SGA is here and everyone around him's in foul trouble and nothing. And then
You sure it wasn't just the audio didn't pick up the laughs?
I think it was cold.
Really?
Yeah, because when he gets in his comfort zone, I've watched Gillis enough to kind of he is in some ways he's apologetic and self-deprecating maybe when he knows something isn't going to go well. But last night it just felt like he was looking for life. He was looking for a lifeline, somebody in the crowd just to kind of get that juice going, and he just never found it.
Yeah.
And I will say this: it also didn't hurt or didn't help. It's one of the great all-time jokes in my opinion. Is when he introduces
the WNBA
four-time WNBA All-Stars here, and then all the drones in the audience. He mentioned WNBA.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we gotta clap. We gotta clap.
We love it. And then he hits him with, that's just my buddy's wife. I knew you guys didn't know any WNBA players. I mean, it's just rolling. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So within 2 minutes, he's insulted the entire crowd's intelligence, or, however, maybe might you say they support certain things or not certain things based on the need to. I thought he was brilliant, but he got hung out to dry. How'd you see it?
Well, I'm glad that you put it like that because I guess I thought he was amazing. I think the issue is though, if I'm somebody in the crowd, some of his jokes hit so hard and from such a cringy angle that it's hard to slap your knee and laugh out loud. You know, it's one of those like your laugh is more like ooh, like oh, like oh my god, he went, like it's like oh my god, he went there. Like I love it. It's funny, but am I rolling over in laughter? Not necessarily, because the jokes, the punchlines weren't that. You know, the whole thing with Big Cat. I mean, the whole that point's correct, and the joke he made about Caitlin Clark, not the one about banging threes in Iowa, but about
Waffle House. Yeah,
yes, that's like
made people uncomfortable.
It made, like there was a lot of uncomfortable, like ooh, but it was from a pure comedy standpoint, and for what the stiff sports world needs. I loved it.
Yeah.
And the sports world's got to take a step back and stop taking itself so seriously all the time. And especially for a network like ESPN to put that out there and allow him to do that. I actually thought that was big of you, ESPN, because he's got to clear all these jokes with all these stiffs at ESPN and ABC and Disney. So for them, after all of these years, they're kind of, surrounded by controversy where like they appear super woke and super left, and you have to like adhere to what they only want. And, they get all like constipated if they have a conservative on there. It's like becomes so politicized.
Yeah, it has.
And it's like, can't we just have fun with sports? Because that's what sports was. When SportsCenter started back in the day, when we loved it as kids, it was loose. It was fun. It was poking fun at guys and gals in their mistakes that they have on the field. They have the top 10 and they have the top 10 bloopers, and it's like, we have to celebrate all angles of sport, and they've kind of gotten away from that. And last night was, I think, a step in the right direction, as uncomfortable as it was.
Yeah, I loved it.
And as inside jokey as it was, because that is like sort of the word he was taking the sort of these word on the street is Big Cat is a little, hey girl, and it's like everybody in town here.
They call him Zesty Cat.
Yeah. So everybody in the Twin Cities that has paid attention you have to live under a rock if you pay attention to basketball in this town. If you haven't heard those rumors before, then you're not really a fan.
Right.
And now he's on a bigger stage in the bright lights of New York, where it's become a little bit more mainstream. He took a joke that we all got here in the Twin Cities, and
absolutely,
he made it national.
He did. He did indeed. No, I'm totally with you, and that's why when I was thinking about the crowd, and maybe in the end, I think maybe your read could be the accurate one, where there was a lot of ooh, that's unbelievable. I can't believe I heard that.
I mean, making a joke like Caitlin Clark punching black women.
Yeah,
that's an aggressive joke.
That's aggressive.
And no, it's not true, but it's funny based on like how the feud with her and Angel Reese
rumors and all of that.
All the perception of what we see, he leaned into it, and I thought it was funny.
The Waffle House reference, the whole thing. And then, but it's I wonder how much of it's not, but the social implications of a player, because PA's talked about this is a bunch, and I think a lot of it's true where, he kind of frames it up. Players don't have nicknames anymore. Players don't have bits anymore. And
right.
there is the element of so many dollars are on the line. XYZ player laughs at crude off-color joke by Shane Gillis. A headline could get to a sponsor. Suddenly Coca-Cola is feeling differently about you. You doing XYZ marketing event, and that could impact millions of dollars. I think the bad part of it, and good part of it, is I want players, when the entertainment dollars are on the table, I want the players to get those dollars. That's awesome. The bad part of it is, though, is you maybe lose a little bit of the loose humanity associated with, and there's always sarcasm. There's always a bit of dim pessimism associated with a lot of comedy, but the laughing aspect of it, I think, is really a connecting moment.
Yeah.
And so just watching him up there, though, last night, and again, part of it's his nature, because he's always, I knew that wasn't going to hit. Yeah, I knew that wasn't going to go well. But I mean, he was brilliant, and he even got like Trump doing a UFC event.
Yeah.
And the last time they staged a fight, Mike Pence almost died. That's incredible. And then he transitions into the Epstein bit, which is, from my standpoint, I think more people need to be focused on that and talking about that. I
agree.
At a high level, and as good as the laughter associated with, it may have just deleted itself. And I guess, just we as a country, I guess, just need to move on. It's just brilliant. Yeah. Just brilliant. Yeah. And bringing that into the center stage, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was much better than my Tom Faldo reference earlier.
Well, all the Tom Faldos out there, they're getting their day today. Yeah,
it's Sir Tom Faldo.
And it is probably Faldo, isn't it?
It absolutely is. So camp starts next week. On a more serious note, ESPY's in this. It's a little bit of an abyss nature of things post July 4th, pre-camp, but it is kind of fun getting to go up to the lake, spending time with family, doing that kind of stuff. But we just kind of roll. I mean, normal schedule. I don't know about you. I'm a routine guy. Like I'm just pumped for next week and to kind of bring things into in a unified routine-like cycle.
Yes, I think everybody's excited for just the talk that's gonna take place. All the talkers, all the storylines. For me personally, selfishly, I'm a little bummed because their main practice, their afternoon practice, is never in a time that I can be there.
Yeah.
I will probably have to take a day or two off of work just to go.
Really?
To said practices, because I think the practice starts at 2 or 2:30.
Yeah.
And I got to go Twin Cities Live at 3:00 every day, and it's a 35-minute drive from Eagan to University Avenue.
It's just not possible.
It's just not possible. So I will be definitely at the night practice. So I've already got that pretty much scheduled. But from an analytics standpoint and from just pure football getting back going, I have always loved this like slow roll in, this build up to the season. I'm going to be excited. And then every week as we get through the preseason, as we get these guys on the field and as the starting rotation gets set and we start seeing who's shining in camp, I get more and more excited. And especially for us here, we're obviously on the national spotlight. We're on the national stage, not because of all the primetime games, but because everybody's in love with J.J. McCarthy just from afar. And we're in love with him here. And every day, unfortunately for him, every day is going to be scrutinized.
Yeah.
If he has a bad 7-on-7, we're going to hear about it. If he has a great red zone, we're going to hear about it. If he has a shoddy blitz period, we're going to hear about it. So people are going to live and die, I think, for this the next 4 weeks of camp off of legitimately every single drill that he does. Every team period that he's a part of and we hear about, and then it's broadcasted and talked about, and the media covers, our fans are going to be all over it. Yeah. And I think it's great.
Does it feel like in some ways we're setting ourselves up to, in some ways, be let down? I mean, because it kind of goes back to the cliche of what do you think is going to be this year and projecting it out and this, that. So, but we're coming into this with a fervor. We're coming, I mean, I've been waiting a freaking year for this, right? Ever since he got hurt in that Raiders game and couldn't show up for the joints at Cleveland, and then he's on the shelf, and we love what Darnold did, et cetera. We've been waiting for this freaking thing. And you just picture about all the ducks in the row and what Kwesi did. And we are set up for the potential where the first 11 on 11 with pads, and he throws a pick to Isaiah Rodgers, and we're happy Isaiah's here, but we're mad at our QB. It's like we're setting ourselves up for any human moment or any mistake from the kid. We're going to lose our minds.
Yeah. The thing that I am tempering with myself is I'm not going to be concerned. If he has, let's say that he has even 3 days, 3 whole days. Let's say he has 3 whole days with all those drills within those 3 days. He has 3 bad days. If he throws a lot of picks, all this other stuff, I won't be that concerned unless we find out that they are sort of just careless interceptions. Yeah. If I find out he's throwing interceptions because he tried to thread the needle between 2 defenders in the red zone, or he was trying to fit a ball where JJ was covered and it just so happened to get tipped up in the air or something like that, I'm not going to be mad about risky interceptions, because people forget that that's what practice is supposed to be, especially for a guy that's he has to learn what his limitations are. And then once you learn your limitations, like, all right, how can I push past those limitations? How can I push those limitations further and further out and expand what I can do as a quarterback and expand what I can do in the playbook? And so if he's making risky mistakes, fine. Dude, that's what practice is for. Rip it in there every once in a while. See if you can make that tight window throw. See if you can just ooh, man, thread that needle. Like, damn, that was close. And, if you had to do it over again, does a defender make a play on that, 3 times out of 5? Maybe. But you got to develop that confidence knowing that you can make that throw. And if you have to make that throw in a game, you're not going to hesitate.
Right.
So that's what practice is for. And so I think that everybody should have a tempered expectation, especially during training camp, because it's all about taking risks. It's not about playing it safe, especially when it comes to throws. So we'll see how it plays out. And maybe we don't have any of this discussion. Maybe he gets out there and he rips it right away and he makes risky throws and he's successful. But just keep in mind, no matter who it is, if it's him or somebody else, even pass rushers, Gernard and Van Ginkel will be trying new things this year in camp, because that's the time you get to practice those things in almost a full speed capacity. Yeah. You're trying new moves. We've seen Dallas Turner on his Instagram and on his social media. He's out there training. He's on the field, trying to show the public, I'm grinding. He wasn't happy about last season. He wants next season to be a great season. Well, great. He's working on certain things. He's working on his hand placement. He's working on this and working on that. So if he comes out even a little bit rusty, it's fine. He's working on stuff, man. Let's let him tweak his recipe and see if he can come up with a masterpiece.
That's Ben Leber in studio weekly, 9 to noon. When we return, more conversation with Ben. But first, before we pause, Brett Blakemore, a cash giveaway opportunity.
Yeah, the cash thing, thefanandbigdeck.com. I want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. The keyword is bank. The keyword bank, KFAN.com, keyword bank. More Leber next. Say the day for the 36th annual Polo Classic. The preeminent polo event in the Twin Cities is back Sunday, August 3rd. The Twin City Polo Club. Get all the details now, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
One more segment with Ben Leber. Uh-oh. Where'd Ricky Fowler go? That's not good. The 153rd Open at Royal Portrush. I'm rooting for Ricky. Ricky Fowler just seems like a good dude that I would like to root for. And he was 2 under at one point. Scheffler finished at 3 under. Where's Ricky? Where's Ricky in the mix here? But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk to Ben Leber. We found our way to football eventually. During the break, I mentioned you there's 3 players that specifically fascinate me, and part of it is kind of the idea of all 3 of these guys, I think, had statistically career year of years, best seasons in their career. 2 of them got paid. And I want to start here, just kind of the idea of, did they create a new standard? Is there progression to be found? Or potentially, is there regression? And in one particular case, just how to view his productivity and decide, where your head's at on it. So I'll start with the 6 picks and Byron Murphy. Byron Murphy emerged last year as certainly in some respects, right guy, right place, right time. But ball hawk identification, he was aggressive and he forced the issue. And he's part of the reason the Vikings, on defense specifically, turned the ball over as many times as they did. Second or first in the league, 33, 34 takes. So we love that. And we love what Byron did. And Byron was paid a fair dollar this offseason as part of it. Did he create a standard? Did he, and is there still room for him to grow? And it's not in the context of, well, we still need to add XYZ corner here, there, or anywhere. Really pumped to see Isaiah Rodgers on the field, but specifically with Byron, like where's your head at on Byron Murphy and maybe the level that he set a year ago or a precedent he set with those 6 picks and fantastic, the best season of his career.
Yeah, he was phenomenal last year. And I think that I'm really excited to see, I know we'll talk about individual players and him specifically, but again, we're going down this road of thinking that B-Flow is going to run a little bit more of an aggressive physical scheme on the outside.
Yeah.
And I think, to your point, him coming off a big year, us transitioning into a little more physical mentality on the outside, gotten a little bit bigger, maybe a little longer on the outside, and I think we're going to be a little bit more press in their face. I think that fits him even more.
Really? Okay.
And so he's always had this physical presence about him. And I truly think that him really dialing in with that physicality, going from the outside to the inside, playing multiple positions, you pair that up with the pass rush that we just kind of alluded to in the last segment, I think he's poised for another good year. I'm not going to say it's going to be another 6 interception season, but I think that he should be the leader of those cornerbacks in that room. And I think he has the right mentality for it. And I think that he feels, obviously, he got what he earned.
Yeah.
He earned another contract, and we were able to give it to him. So I think he's going to go out there with a free mind, a fresh spirit, knowing that he truly, truly is one of the leaders on this defense.
Well, and I like how you frame that up towards the end there, speaking specifically to, it may not be 6 picks. So it can be, and anyone can fall into it, but it can be too simplistic and Rube-like just to say, let's look at the stat sheet. Let's look at the box score. Unless we're comparing you to Anthony Barr, then it fits. You have more splashy.
Stats only matter when you're coming out on top.
Your first 4 years as a Viking were more productive and splashy than the first 4 years of Anthony Barr's career. And that is an undeniable fact. I've put a lot of research and lost a lot of sleep over it.
Yeah.
But I look at Andrew Van Ginkel. So another guy that had a terrific year. Best year of his career, productivity-wise, from the 11.5 sacks. He had the 2 defensive touchdowns, loving all of that. The gink is on fire, and he gets paid again. And the idea of creating a standard. Now, your mindset, if it is, we have to look at so many different factors if we frame up a great year that a Byron Murphy had. But he only has 3 picks this year instead of 6. And what all the factors that go into that. Similarly, with Andrew Van Ginkel, there might be somebody that says, if he only has 7 or 8 sacks this year, that's a disappointing season. And maybe functionally it is, but you have to look at the other parts of his game, right? But again, the idea that Van Ginkel, off the best year of his career, gets a little extra cash in his pocket, has kind of set a standard. and maybe that standard doesn't read the same on a stat line, but we need to see XYZ from him. Where are you at with Van Ginkel?
Well, I'm at the same point I am with Gernard. I mean, look, they're both tremendous off the edge. We have great assets from a schematic point where everybody's gonna know their reputation from last year. That Van Ginkel is a very, very smart football player. Like, you're not going to take advantage of him very often with scheme, with blocking. He's just going to understand. He's going to be a step ahead of you all the time, as we've witnessed with his pick sixes, where he just sniffs everything out. He talks about it post game, and he's like, "It's not that difficult, guys." Like, in so many words, like, it's not that difficult. He's like, "I watched film, I see their setup, I know the down and distance, I understand tendencies, and playing within the defense, he knows that he can jump that route, and he takes advantage of it. And should have had another one because he dropped one doing the same thing."
Oh.
So
dropped a couple, maybe. Was it one against the Niners?
It might have been a couple. I know there's one for sure. But I think that, again, when I talk about expectations for McCarthy going to training camp. Here's my expectations and my thought when it comes to watching defensive players. As you laid it out, stats are great. Stats, obviously, it's what's going to get you Pro Bowls. It's what's going to get you this and that. It's going to get people talking about you. It's part of your legacy that will never get erased because it's factual. It's like that number is going to be with that game and that performance forever. But a lot of times in a lot of positions, I would say, a lot for defensive linemen and outside linebackers in a 3-4 is we don't see a lot of the hurries. You don't see a lot of the pressures. You kind of forget, we are charting the hurries and pressures and quarterback hits, but we only really focus on tackles for loss and sacks.
Right.
And I think that I'm not going to put necessarily a number unless it's egregiously low. If Van Ginkel comes out and has 2 sacks this year, I'll be like, ooh, had a bad year.
That's a problem. Right? Yeah.
But if he has 8.5 sacks, 9 sacks this year, or even 8 sacks this year, but he's impactful in moving the quarterback off his spot and he's being disruptive, then I think that he can have a great season. Now, the national pundits might not look at it and say he had a great season, but us watching every single game and every single snap, we'll look at it and be like, whoa, you guys aren't watching the film. Right. Like, this guy's a monster.
Big third down incompletion he forced.
Yeah, this guy's, tipped a ball at the line of scrimmage on 3rd and 5 and a 3rd and got to have it. And, it's going to go on the stat sheet as a PBU. But, like, that PBU at that particular point in the game was huge, So I think that because he's so smart and he's so slippery with his physicality, I think that he's poised for another good year, whether it shows up on the stat books or not.
I like that. The third player that fascinates me, and maybe I'm wrong here, I don't know, but the first, so Blake Cashman, local kid, and everyone loves the Eden Prairie's finest angle and all of that, Gopher, etc. But he finds his way through the Jets and then actually gets a real opportunity to start a few games for the Texans, has like a 20 tackle game. And I still swear that he was calling his own number with the green dot and just trying to pad the stats, but who knows? No, but then he comes.
Oh, look, another blitz for me.
Oh, geez, darn it. I guess I'll do it. Twist my arm. Never going to get to start again. So why wouldn't I do this? No, but he comes to Minnesota and then shows out and has a terrific year. He misses 2 games. I think it was the Lions and Rams losses that he missed. But man in the middle. I actually, when I look at Blake, get 3.5, 4 sacks out of him a year ago too. Again, there are stats, the measured moments, as you mentioned. I think he still potentially has room to even get more impactful and more explosive in this defense. I'm really pumped. And what players do you look forward to? Of course, it's going to start with McCarthy and new guys into the mix, fat guys in the middle on defense. But Cashman year 2, maybe even with, talk about how things work off of each other, with the defensive front potentially being more stout than it was a year ago. I love the idea that Blake Cashman can, whatever level he was at, you frame it up 2024, I think he can be even better in 2025. I'm really psyched for Blake.
Well, especially if he can stay healthy. I mean, if he is not missing any games at all, and he's playing all 17 games, the trend that he was on for a lot of the season is, dude, he's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
I mean, he was balling out. Whether he was making an impact blitzing, which we kind of give IP a little bit more of the credit. We're like, oh, IP's the downhill thumper. He's the guy that's running through the A gap and running through the running back's face, and he's the one. Man, Blake did a great job blitzing this year. He does a great job of covering in space. He's so quick with his angles. He scrapes to the ball carrier very, very well. He has a lot of natural football instincts. And when you talk to him, he's talked about this very openly. His biggest thing was just injuries. You know, when he was with the Jets and all this other stuff, and it's like this fluke thing happened, this thing happened, and like then he gets to Houston, and you know they sort of like have this little different approach to the off-field training, and they're like, "Are you not doing this?" And he's like, "No, I never really done that." He's like, "Oh, then you need to start doing that." So he's taking a lot of those things from a strength and conditioning standpoint and a recovery standpoint they learned in Houston, applied it here, and he's been really healthy. So if he can continue to do that, I think he's poised for a great year. A couple guys that really intrigue me. Obviously, the new acquisitions. I'm excited about Jonathan Allen. I'm very excited about Hargrave. I think that he to me could be the missing link to this defense.
Really?
The tenacity that he's going to hopefully bring to the inside part of our defensive line, I think is going to be the most impactful addition that we've had on this defense in a long time. That's my hope. I also am really excited for Gabe Murphy. You know, he's an edge guy that we picked up last year.
Undrafted cat,
UCLA. To me, he has all the size and physical traits that you look for. Now, it's a matter of how many opportunities is he going to get. But as a rotational guy, if he can crack that lineup as a rotational guy, I really like his position flexibility. I think that he has the length. I think that he has the twitch to be a guy off the edge, on the move with certain twists and stunts to be an impactful pass rusher for us situationally. I hope that everything that I think that he can be, hopefully he puts it together this year. And then obviously on the outside, Mekhi Blackman, again, coming off injury. He and Jeff Okudah, who sounds like he had a really good offseason with us. If both of those guys can step up and be true starting caliber corners, guys, we're set.
We're in a good spot.
We're in a really, really good spot. And you know there's going to be some additions depth-wise, and let's cross our fingers that nobody gets hurt during training camp, and all we do after everybody gets cut at the end of the third preseason game is that we add some really high-quality depth. And if we can get that, man, we're golden on defense.
I love it. Thanks for hanging out with me, man.
Yeah.
Now I'm pumped for camp. Show today.
Big show for us today on Twin Cities Live. We're going to be live at Maynard's on Lake Minnetonka.
Yes. It's
our Twin Cities Live in Your Town series. Every month we do this. So
my intel indicates people are already showing up.
Yeah, I hope so. This is usually what I hear is if the doors open at 10, people are there at 9. If the doors open at 11, people are there at 10.
Yeah.
So hopefully at 10:45, people are lined up. They're already in Maynard's. I think we're going to be out on the patio for most of the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. I love going out and seeing the crowd, meeting the people, and it's going to be a beautiful day.
You think people that live out in Excelsior, they woke up this morning as we were talking, and it's like, wow, what a difference. Like when sun shines in the window in the morning, you think as soon as they heard, hey, is Twin Cities Live going to be at Maynard's?
You know what? I think
twist my arm. I suppose. I suppose I'll go get some waffle fries and maybe a beverage on a Thursday and go see two of my favorite people.
I think on a day like
today.
I think on a day like today, knowing that Twin Cities Live is going to be at Maynard's, they woke up. Even if they woke up in Northern Ireland and they're like, oh, it's rainy and cold and windy, they would still be excited for us.
People would rather be at Maynard's watching you guys, Twin Cities Live, than they would be at Royal Portrush in the gallery
100%.
Watching Rory miss a tap in for Bird.
When you have to have an umbrella and turn it sideways to face the wind and the rain that's blowing, not just above your head, you're in some bad conditions.
Absolutely, my friend. Have fun with that. And thanks as always. Next week we'll be talking, and camp's going to be underway. So we'll be in more reaction and it's happening mode, which is going to be sweet. That's at Nacho Lieber via X. And news is next. Nordo in for PA on the Fan.
concert event of the year is coming to Minneapolis. Paul McCartney live at US Bank Stadium October 17th. If you want to score a pair of tickets, you can head to KFAN.com, keyword contest, enter to win the Get Back Tour, one night, one legend. Don't miss it. KFAN.com, keyword contest.
News du Nord brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park, CanterburyPark.com. Poker, blackjack, and table games all year round. Feeling the felt, having sips at chips, and tipping Derek Allen. And then, when you're not doing that, you're watching live racing. So check out CanterburyPark.com for the live racing calendar. One of the best spots in Shakopee to go. Whole family in tow. CanterburyPark.com. Where are we headed to first, Brett?
Dave's faves and all. Here we go.
Dave's
Number
faves.
1.
I hate that we have to keep bringing this up. It sucks. It's a crappy situation all around, but it is news. Jordan Addison's, his trial, he now has a hearing scheduled for today. So it was supposed to be a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Now the hearing is today. I'm ready to get resolution. And I'm not, as you know, I'm green and gold guy. I'm ready to get resolution for this and just hear whether or not he's going to get suspended or what the situation is. He pleads not guilty, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, as we talked about it on Tuesday, the angle, if you're in the Addison camp, is certainly if he is acquitted, he's found not guilty on these misdemeanor charges, albeit again, we're falling asleep on the freaking highway here. And, what else is there to say? Something stinks about the entire event, as we know. But if you are looking at it purely from an X's and O's, a football standpoint, if he was to plead guilty or to plead no contest, it appears fairly obvious that he would seek, or not seek, but he would reap what he sowed. He would have some sort of suspension in the mix. Pleading not guilty and potentially being acquitted might change all that. But you have this bid scheduled for Tuesday, it gets drawn out to Thursday, so here we are. As Brett mentioned, we're bringing it up again. There's no finality to it, and this doesn't feel like it'll take 6 weeks. So, but then this is also a pretrial hearing. So does this start creeping into camp here, where he might have to miss practices to go out and finish this thing in Cali? I don't know. We just want some finality. We want the right answer to it in terms of whether it's responsibility and culpability that needs to be faced, or if there is an acquittal associated with it, he gets his day in court, and as is his right, which we all should appreciate. And we'll see how this thing shapes up. But I just, from the standpoint, it's like we got camp next week, and so logistically, what that thing looks like. I'm sure he and everybody involved are looking for a quick end to the whole bit.
Number 2.
The Open Championship, the British Open, is underway, round 1. We have a 3-way tie for the lead. Everyone shooting a 67. Two people that I'm not familiar with, Olesen, Jacob Skov Olesen, Hao Tong Lee, and one guy that I am, Matt Fitzpatrick, all at 4 under. Scotty in the mix at 3 under. Rory just a couple minutes ago, hit a long-range up-a-hill putt for birdie to put him at 1 under. So there's some guys in the mix. Mickelson even at 1 under. So it's looking like a fun little tournament in Northern Ireland. Yeah,
you get a little nostalgia. How about Lee? I didn't even know how often Lee Westwood plays anymore, but he's 2 under in his first round. Sergio Garcia in the mix. You mentioned lefty. Rahm at 1. The guy who won it the last time it was here at Portrush, Shane Lowry, he's at 1 under. My guy Ricky, it was bound to happen.
Yep.
I think he is already. Yeah, he's even through 14. He was 2 under and threatening. He was 2 under and trying to make a statement. I think defending champion, I believe it's Xander Schauffele. He's even. As we were talking about during Leber, all jokes aside, it just looks miserable out there, and it's crazy. From the segment I did, Rocco Mediate kicking off the show. It's crazy how quickly out there in Northern Ireland, its own sovereign nation, by the way, in Northern Ireland.
Kind of.
But how quickly the weather changes. And just from a link standpoint, the differences in how you have to approach a hole, how that goes into the mix. But, you can be feeling good. You want to get a fat, low number, big-time low number today, and then it's kind of like, hold on, and suddenly 10-mile-an-hour gusts become 25, and the rain's going sideways and the whole thing. So finding your way through the mix today, I don't have my weather app up here trying to figure out what it's like at Portrush, but Getting a big number today would be a massive start. You mentioned Rory missed a tap-in. Is that accurate?
So, hole 1, he missed a tap-in for par. And bogeyed 1. But now he's since had 2 birdies. Is a long-range putt here, not to do play-by-play on the air.
Get in there.
Go.
Get in there. Oh.
I am a Rory guy, and he's a hometown, so I do want to see him do well. I like Scotty, too, and he's in the mix. So there's a lot of guys that I just like in golf.
Well, I kind of like the way Rocco put it. Rory, he gets the Grand Slam at Augusta, and then, there has to be some kind of a, I did it type of moment. So is that the letdown that you're looking at? And I forget how he finished at the U.S. Open, but now back in the mix, he won the Open. Not the U.S. one, the other one in 2014. So, yeah, he's creeping into his mix. But Scheffler, man, the longer Scheffler is hunting around the top, you'd have to expect that the already favored top golfer is going to be a factor and a problem for Fitzpatrick and company. So, yeah, love the Open. Anything else?
Yeah, I got time for one more.
Okay.
I'll give you a choice. They're both NFL defensive related. Do you want to go Von Miller or Micah Parsons?
Well, Von Miller is signing with the Commanders, right?
Yes.
So what's the Micah Parsons thing?
So the Micah Parsons, he was recently...
Number 3.
He was recently on a podcast with The Undertaker. No, I'm not kidding.
Sweet.
He was on the podcast with The Undertaker, who we love. And he basically is starting to voice his frustrations on a contract. He said, quote, wanted to do the contract last year. Obviously, ownership's always going to make it drag out, make it more complicated than it has to be. Lack of communication. Now, Jerry Jones likes to splash the cash. It's not like he's, wondering where his next meal's coming from.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that's a defensive player to me where you not blank check, but damn near close to. I mean, he's a pretty good player when he's at the peak of his powers. So I don't know why there's frustration and hesitancy from the Cowboys to get something done with Micah Parsons.
Well, it might be a money thing. And, the fact of the matter is I'm trying to...
Too much money on Dak?
Well, I mean, and they re-up CD. I'm convinced... First of all, I'm convinced they'll get something done. I truly believe that. And this is also a situation now where after your 3rd season, when you are a first-round rookie, you can start negotiating your future contract. So it kind of pushes up decisions that have to be made on certain players. But Dak had to be done, and whether or not we agree that Dak Prescott should be making $60 million a year, that really is a moot point as it pertains here. They needed to do something. They did. And then with CeeDee Lamb, they needed to do something there. Of course, Micah Parsons is at the top of the list. Now, when it happens, I'm sure there's some frustration and, how the level of communication by Jerry and everybody else, if he's voicing irritation, they got to figure that out, and they got to show him they love him. There's no doubt about it. He's a highlight. He's one of the best defensive players, bar none, in the NFL. So you want to make Micah feel wanted, and you're going to have to pay him a ton of cash. So I just think they'll get it done. As a matter of fact, I almost, in some ways, this isn't like tinfoil hat conspiracy thinking. It's just kind of, there's part of me that thinks Jerry doesn't mind, and in some ways, I think he almost likes being in the news about this stuff. When he was trying to balance how to pay Dak and how to pay CeeDee Lamb, and even a year ago, Micah was part of this conversation too. I think he kind of likes that. I think he doesn't mind being in the news, constantly being talked about, and he's going to figure it out. He'll get paid, and everyone will be happy, except for Cowboys fans who will continue to exist and persist without playoff appearances and without Super Bowl rings.
Hey, but this is their year.
America's team, indeed. Mm-hmm. That's News to Know, brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park, CanterburyPark.com. Final hour ahead. My buddy John Bisworm in studio next. It's 9 to noon.